The Formula One season is well underway, and a few weekends ago, we saw the fifth race of the sport's busy schedule in Miami, USA. Frenchman Charles Leclerc started the race on pole position, but following a tactical mistake, he did not finish in the same position. Instead, Max Verstappen took the win, much to the disdain of Ferrari. Today, we are talking Verstappen's win and Ferrari's brutal blunder. Don't go anywhere. First up, where are we up to with the championship so far? Well, after the sixth race of the season this past weekend, in which Charles Leclerc blew another lead to not finish, Max Verstappen strengthened his grip on the championship and now sits 6 points ahead of the Frenchman in top spot with 110 points. Ferrari have enjoyed a fantastic start to the season, but last weekend will only add to their frustration after a mix-up in the previous race in Miami led to Leclerc blowing another fantastic opportunity to finish first. But they will also be happy with their other driver, Carlos Sainz, who has put on a good showing so far, sitting in fifth with position with 65 points. And Verstappen's teammate in the other Red Bull, Sergio Perez, is also well placed after week 6, leading to speculation that Red Bull could pull off a famous 1-2 if they keep up their blistering pace so far. But Englishman Lewis Hamilton, who has won 6 of the last 8 drivers' championships, is quite a way off the pace, with 46 points after 6 races, meaning he has a lot to do to make up the gap going into the midsection of the season. Of course, there is a long way to go until the winner is crowned, so we can probably expect Hamilton to start motoring pretty soon. Who is your tip for this year's championship? So, what did Leclerc have to say about his Miami performance? Stay with us to find out. Well, as you will be well aware of by now, Max Verstappen won a hectic Miami GP after coming from behind and overtaking Charles Leclerc pretty early on to win. He took the lead on lap 9 and never really looked in trouble throughout the rest of the race. At the time, Verstappen's win closed the gap to 19 points in the race for the title, which he has since closed even further after this past weekend's win in Barcelona. After the race in Miami, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner could be heard praising Verstappen over the team radio, saying, "Well done, mate, you really made that work. Well done for hanging on." He also bagged an extra point for the fastest lap, which could prove vital if the battle with Leclerc proves to be as close as some people are suggesting. And Leclerc had his own thoughts on the race afterwards, suggesting he thought he could reel Verstappen back in after the Flying Dutchman passed him. He said, "It was a very difficult race physically. We struggled quite a bit on the medium tires in the first stint and got overtaken. It made our race a bit more difficult from that moment onwards." Leclerc then said that he could catch Max towards the end, however, it wasn't to be. He then went on to say that they need to keep pushing before speaking of how important the team's upgrades will be. What did you make of this race? We're discussing those blunders next. Stay tuned. If Charles Leclerc is to have any chance of winning his maiden Formula One title, his Ferrari team will need to cut out the mistakes that were so prevalent during his drive in Miami. And commentators sounded pretty shocked at the ease in which Verstappen was able to take the lead over Leclerc, first of all pointing out how little Leclerc's teammate Carlos Sainz did to stop the Red Bull charge. And Verstappen had opened up a 3.5-second lead by lap 20, with some people suggesting at that point that Leclerc needed to pit as Verstappen was only going to get further away from the French driver. And former driver Martin Brundle pointed out how poor Leclerc's defense appeared to be, whilst another former driver, Jolyon Palmer, suggested Charles had butchered his tires. He then went on to criticize Ferrari for their decision to not pit following the safety car on lap 41, saying Ferrari could have gone for a soft tire. A little bit nothing from them, now both Ferraris will be vulnerable to Perez. It's a great chance for him, before going on to suggest Ferrari had been too passive. And Christian Horner himself even seemed surprised with Ferrari's decision, describing his team as lucky that Ferrari didn't pit to take on new tires, saying how the decision, or lack of it, neutralized things. And Ferrari will need to cut out those mistakes if they are to get back to the top of the sport they once dominated. Next up, a pretty funny bit of F1 news. Stay tuned. Valtteri Bottas has recently bared all in a cheeky Instagram picture taken by his girlfriend, pro cyclist Tiffany Cromwell. The snap, which features the Finn bathing naked in a stream in Aspen, Colorado, caused a stir on social media, so much so that it prompted the F1 driver to collaborate with photographer Paul Ripke to produce a set of prints of the photograph, which were auctioned off for charity. And somewhat surprisingly, they were a big hit. The prints were purchased by more than 5,000 people, raising over 50,000 euros for charity, which is fantastic. And Bottas admitted that it was a bit of a weird feeling knowing that people had actually purchased pictures of his behind. The Alfa Romeo driver said this week, "I still haven't signed any. Maybe an autograph session tomorrow, Sunday, maybe I'll see some." He went on to reveal how, so far, he has seen people with the picture in their living room, bedroom, and even kitchen, which he again described as crazy. He went on to praise the power of social media, which is obviously an example of the good it can do. He said, "What is incredible, that's like the power of social media. Like, we got 50,000 euros for charity in 24 hours with a picture of somebody's bum like this." The 32-year-old finished by admitting admitting that he didn't quite get it, but that it's a good thing. What did you make of Bottas? We mean bottom. More strange news now. Sebastian Vettel is joining us. The Formula One schedule made it stop in Barcelona for last weekend's Spanish Grand Prix, and four-time championship winner Sebastian Vettel has gotten into a spot of bother. The German and part-time environmental campaigner had a bag stolen from outside his hotel in the Spanish city on Monday, but wasn't about to take the incident lying down. He sprang into action, grabbing a nearby scooter and attempting to track down the thieves using tracking software on his phone linked to earbuds in the bag. And the Aston Martin driver was actually able to find the earbuds, but not the bag, suggesting the thieves probably knew the earbuds were able to be tracked. It is at this moment unclear as to whether or not the thieves knew they were being pursued, but Vettel did eventually report the crime to police. An Aston Martin spokesman said a bag belonging to Sebastian Vettel was stolen in Barcelona this morning. He tried to find it by using his iPhone to track his earphones, which were in his bag, but when he located his earphones, he found them abandoned and was therefore unable to locate his stolen bag. Having finished just outside the points this weekend, it hasn't been a great few days for the former champ. However, the team has just introduced a new upgrade for their car, which did show some promise early on, but ultimately couldn't sustain its brief showing. Vettel will be hoping to improve on it going forward, though. What do you make of this? And finally, McLaren will be sweating on the fitness of Lando Norris ahead of Monaco. British team McLaren have revealed that they are waiting to hear on the fitness of their driver, Lando Norris, ahead of this weekend's race in Monaco. The young British driver had been diagnosed with tonsillitis across the race weekend in Barcelona, which would have helped his drive in the Spanish city. He did, however, manage to finish in 8th position, but with only a week in between the two races, he hasn't been left with much time to fully recover, and McLaren is considering whether to replace Lewis Hamilton's teammate this weekend. Norris will now face a race against time if he is to be fit for one of the highlights of the F1 season, and team principal Andreas Seidel has said, "First of all, I think the medical support we are having, and with having the possibility now to rest for 4 days, I am hopeful that Lando will be fit. Hopefully, Norris will be fit." But Seidel did add that they have different options in terms of reserve drivers. Who is your tip for the Constructors' Championship this year? As usual, thanks for dropping in today, and remember to join us next time for some more fun and games. And feel free to like and share today's video with any F1 fans you might have lurking on those socials. Bye, guys!